Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? So good, I hope. It feels like since forever since we made art together, doesn't it? It's kind of a crazy thing to be away for a chunk of time and then to come back and sleep in your own bed. Number one, that's amazing. And to just get up and jump right back on the horse. So let me know when you're here so we can say hello to one another. Be sure to say hello. And hey Lenora, how are you? What's going on? What's happening? So today we're going to paint with tube watercolors. I thought that that was something new we could talk about and discuss and play with. Good morning, Kate. How are you? Comments are not showing up on my iPad. I'm having to read them on my phone for a bit. Hey, Renee. How are you? So I'm going to use Opera Pink. I just love this color. And we are going to start painting on our brand new art printable named Aunt Junie. So I had started this before, and before I left, and I was just thinking about it on the plane last night that I couldn't wait to start playing with it again. But if you are brand new here, if you would follow, like, and subscribe to Aunt Corbiere-Scott Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated. And then remember that you can get all of my art printables and you can sign up for my artsy classes on my website, Corbiere-Scott-Designs.com. Then please ask to join our private Facebook group, Let's Get Artsy with Aunt Corbiere-Scott. That is where the new challenge is going to be housed. I've already created a album on there for our Christmas card challenge, where you're going to create as many Christmas cards in July and post them in the album. And then we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to have your friends and family join Let's Get Artsy with Aunt Corbiere-Scott and vote on your cards, and then we will the top three with the most likes / votes will win a gift certificate for Aunt Corbiere-Scott Designs, and then everyone who enters will get some happy mail from me. So how fun is that? And remember that the contest runs from starting today until the 30th of July. So I'm going to be gone again starting on the 12th of July through the 20th. And so during all that time, let's keep posting those Christmas cards. And then just think what a head start you'll have, right? What a head start you'll have on your Christmas card creating. Let's see, what else do we have? Well, I'm just going to start painting. So when you're painting with tube watercolors, you're going to put a dab in a palette, right? And then you're going to add some water. I'm just using a pipette to add my water this morning. More water than you have paint. And then you're going to mix it till all of that pigment has been incorporated in the water. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, you'll have some bumps along the way, and we don't want that. I'm feeling like I think I might want to add a little bit more water, because you know I like a watery wash. So tube watercolors are much more concentrated than pan watercolors. So just know that there's a little bit of a learning curve, but the learning curve is that you just have to play with them, right? The more you play with them, the more you learn about them. Whatever, I'm using Daniel Smith today, but there are many kinds of watercolors. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. You know me, I like everything. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to kind of play with today. So I'm just doing an all-over watercolor wash on these flowers. I have already done the leaves. I did those before I left. And I'm not being exact, as you can see. Hi, Katie. Hey, Beth, how are you? Just get some watery wash down here. So this, I drew this Aunt Junie design as a coverall. I really like coveralls because you can cut them apart. You can paint the whole sheet, and then you're going to kind of treat it like pattern paper. Do you know what I'm saying? Once you have everything painted the way you want it, then you're going to treat this like a sheet of pattern paper. So you can cut it apart, you can cut it in strips, you can die cut it, you can do all kinds of things. My favorite thing is to, once I've painted it, to cut it in 4, and then I can make 4 different cards with those 4 chunks of painted area. Oh, that's so cool, Beth. That's so cool. Well, I'm anxious to see your paintbrushes. You know I love paintbrushes. That's for sure. Good morning, Debbie Miller. How are you? So, as you know, I was gone on a little vacation with my niece and my great niece and my great nephew. And we just had ourselves the best time. Oh, everybody, have a drink of water. Good morning, Melinda. How are you? But on the last, so you know, it was a crazy series of events. So when we were flying out, I flew to them. They live in southwest Missouri. So the closest airport is in northwest Arkansas. They're just over the state line into Missouri. So I flew to them the day before because it was going to take us, there was no way we could line up all the flights to Michigan, and me arriving in Missouri. Like, it was just too many flights. Because we, originally, so you know there's a snafu if I say originally we were going to fly from Arkansas to Atlanta to Detroit to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So I flew in the day before, and then we all stayed in a hotel that night so we could get to the airport, because the Doubletree has a shuttle, you know. So we got up in the morning and we ate a good breakfast and we got ourselves to the airport, and our flight was set to leave at noon, and then the times kept changing. The times changed from noon to 1:20 to 1:50 something. I was like, I kept going up to that podium and I was like, are we going to make our connection? Because we have a connection in Georgia, then we have a connection in Detroit. Are we going to make it? And no kidding. They were like, sure, you sure will. Well, we didn't. So our flight in Atlanta got canceled to the next day. And so I said, okay, so what are we supposed to do about that? So they give us a hotel voucher and a food voucher, which was very generous and nice. But then we had to go back through security with two littles who had never flown before. Holy smokes, it was crazy. And Atlanta, if you don't know, is the largest airport in America. So, and I'd never been there. Detroit, I know like the back of my hand. Atlanta, nope. So I was a little bit nervous about that and feeling very responsible. But anyway, the next day we got on the plane and we headed for the Sioux. And you know what? It turned out. How old are the kids? 6 and 8. Is that what you're asking me, Beth? But I will tell you, know what? They got 3 sets of wings. One pilot let them go and sit in the pilot seat. It was, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was just amazing. We just had the best time. So do you see how this tube paint, the color is so vibrant, right? But I'm happy to be home. But remember that I'm going to be gone again next week. And so I wanted to ask you guys some questions. What did you think about the pre-recorded video? Let me know your thoughts on that. Because I'll be gone again. It was very fun, but I mean, I just felt they were troopers. I'm telling you, they picked up on everything so quick, you know? You forget what little sponges they are. They navigated trains and vans and escalators and moving sidewalks and planes and big planes and little planes. And oh my gosh, they were rock stars. They were rock stars. But on the very last plane, I was trying to get out of someone's way, and didn't I twist my knee? It was so stupid. It was so stupid, you guys. And then, and it hurt. And I was like, shoot, what did I do? But I kept trying to, so by the time we got to my mom's house, it was hurting pretty bad. So I just kept taking some acetaminophen and icing it and wrapping it. And then about the 3rd day, my mom was like, you need to go to the doctor. Because, you know what? I took them to some of the Great Lakes, and I knew I couldn't climb down to the beach. I had to sit on the bench and feel like an old lady, that I couldn't participate in it at all, you know? So I went to the doctor, and they said that it was a muscle strain, and that I just needed to, you know, acetaminophen, and then every 3 hours Motrin, and then acetaminophen, and then, you know, back forth. And that made all the difference. And then to just keep like elevating it when I could, and icing it, and resting, which I didn't really rest because, you know, I was on vacation. But yesterday, those 3 flights that I took home, and my flight was, I was supposed to leave at noon again yesterday, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a notification from the airline that flight was canceled. You know, when you're trying to solve a problem in the middle of the night, I'm not very good at that. I don't know anyone who really is. Anyway, I'm going to make a little bit more saturated color up here for my shading. Oops. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And then incorporate that. Hey, Maureen. Anyway, my leg, you know, I was on a plane, so my leg was bent the whole time. So this morning it's feeling a little sore. But it's wrapped in my ace bandage, and I took my little acetaminophen this morning, so I should be good to go. And I think I'll just make sure that, like, after this, I have this class, and then I have a stitch along right after this, and then I'll just put my foot up. So we got to see the Canadian fireworks when we were in Sault Ste. Marie. Is there, you know, Sault Ste. Marie is right on the Canadian border. So I like to do, if you've not watched me paint before, I like to come in, look, I like to do my watery wash, and then I like to come in and get some color on there that's just a little more concentrated. And then after it dries, I'll come back and do my Jiggy Jaggy blend. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. It feels so good to be back to painting. I didn't really get to paint while I was on vacation, but I did draw. I drew a peony that I saw on Sugar Island that was just magnificent. And I did get to stitch a little bit, so that was cool. And I took a million pictures for inspiration wherever I go. I like to take lots of pictures and then draw from those pictures. When your flight gets canceled, you lose your nice seat on the plane, but you're just so grateful to be on the plane. So last night I was in the middle, which lent to not being able to stitch or draw. And it was a nighttime flight, so, you know, they turned the lights off. But I did have that little Happy Color app on my phone, so I could just fiddle around with that. And I had downloaded a People magazine, so I read all about all kinds of people. Miranda Lambert, and I'm trying to think who else I read about. Anyway, it was good. But there was no time when I landed in. So you fly from XNA. That's the Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas airport. You fly from there to Dallas and then Phoenix. And there was no time to get anything to eat in Dallas. And so, you know, they have that little card that tells you what you can order and stuff. So I was like, oh, they have a little charcuterie tray. So I asked for that, and they were like, we haven't had that in a long time. I was like, oh, what do you have? She said, this little bag of pretzels. So that's what I ate last night. So I was hungry for my eggs this morning, that's for sure. So Aunt Junie is another Sugar Island beauty, another one of my aunts. We just lost her not very long ago. And, hey Chris. She was just the loveliest. She was a great, yep, that's what I do too, Renee. I start a whole bunch of them, so then I have lots to choose from if we don't have Wi-Fi. Because that plane didn't have Wi-Fi last night for like watching movies or whatever. And I had started a movie on a Delta flight the day before, and I got almost to the end. You know how that goes. So I'll just have to watch that at home. Licorice Pizza, which is one that I really wanted to see, but I never did. And so I have to finish it. At some point. So how about you? What did you do with your holiday weekend? Did you go anywhere? Did you have a cookout? Did you hang with family and friends? Did you just have a quiet night at home? Let me know what you did. I hope you're all thinking about Christmas card ideas. And remember, you can use any art printable. They can contain any art printable. They just need to be a Christmas card. So really use your imagination. I mean, I think I have 8 Christmas designs on my website. So, you know, across the top there are subtitles. So if you click Christmas, then you'll go right to the Christmassy ones. But, like I said, it can be any art printable. So I'm anxious to see what you guys all create. Oh, I did want to say, don't forget that we have 2 classes this month. We have Let's Get Artsy with Our Bibles on July 23rd. And then we have Artsy Alchemy 3 on July 24th. And both of those are open for registration. I just love the way this adds such cool dimension. Just adding bits more color. So pretty. So, so what did you think about the pre-recorded video? I know it wasn't live, so we couldn't have a conversation. But I was able to communicate with you in some kind of way. Let me know what you think, because I'll try and do more of those when I'm away, when I'm going to be away, so that we can still have artsy time together. And if you would like it to be kind of technique driven, let me know. This is so relaxing, I can't even tell you. Oh, and who has started to do their school supply shopping? I saw someplace that composition books were 50 cents at Target. So be on the lookout for that. I will say the graph ones I've gotten in the past are from Walmart. But you know, school supplies are kind of available anywhere, like Office Max and Staples, Walmart and Target. Anyway, so be sure to check out the shopping list. I put it in last week's newsletter, which I just resent to the people who had not opened it. So you get a second chance to open it. And I have all kinds of ideas in there. You know, just choose what works for you. I mean, crayons are the best, aren't they? You can do so many things with them. And I have thought about doing some kind of crayon techniques in pop-in paint parties, because they're so I know, but this isn't for school supplies. It's for us. It's art supplies. School supplies, art supplies, Renee. I know. It is frustrating that everything is so early. That's for sure. So pretty. I forgot to share this card that I got from Keeley last week. Look at this. She used the Melissa art printable, and then look at this. I love this embossed background, and doesn't it just make the yellow pop on that blue, because they're opposites on the color wheel, remember? And look, you'll take note that she really thought about the tone, right? So our levels of color are the same, right? Our yellow and our blue are within the same tonal family. So kind of keep that in mind when you're creating. Oh my gosh, I loved book orders. I loved book orders. And you know what? I even did it when I was, when I had my daycare in my home. We did book orders. I just love it. I just love it. And now I get to do it for Tessa's class. She always has book orders. She tries to provide book orders, or those book, you know, scholastic books for her classrooms. And these can be all different shades. They don't all have to be the same. In nature, they're not the same. We did see the most magnificent lily pads when we were on Sugar Island. And I think I'm pretty good there. And frogs on the lily pads. I mean, gosh, there's nothing like that, is there? Yeah, I do love Crayola crayons and colored pencils and rulers and, you know, paints. Those Crayola washable watercolors, I get those almost every year, every fall. I get some of the Crayola washable watercolors because their watercolors are very different. Oh, I love that, Tam. I love that. I bet they loved it. I mean, what a treat. What a treat for them. Oh my gosh, Beth, that's going to be amazing. New England in the autumn. I'm sure that's going to be unbelievable. Oh, I'm loving it. So remember that we, I think I talked about it in the newsletter. We we have a guest designer for Aunt Corbiere-Scott Designs for the month of July. Her name is Kina, Kina. So be sure to show her some love. Her creations are so beautiful and so, her execution is about the most beautiful. She's a pretty big Copic person. So if you've been intrigued by that, you'll want to check her out. Oh, Beth, I love that Judy's going with you, though. I sure miss her. And you, my friend. And you. Yeah, so I'm going, the next trip that I'm going on is, I'm going on my sister's road trip that we go on every summer. So I was thinking, you know, we don't stop and see things very often. So I'm thinking, because we're always kind of in a rush to get to my mom and dad's, but I'm feeling like maybe this year we need to start doing something, you know, stop and just enjoy a sight or two along the way. And one of the things that we had talked about was we drive through Teddy Roosevelt National Park, Theodore Roosevelt. So I thought, you know what, maybe we need to just stop, get a stamp in our book, and, you know, oh, damn. We're going to have to do something. Party at my house, Tam. We'll make stuff. Yeah, because that'll be... Okay, Debbie, what do you mean great music? What are you talking about? On the cruise? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. I think I want to keep my background white because I really like that contrast. Hey, Gretchen. But part of me is also feeling like I want to do... I do. I do always send you songs. Yes. And they're always old. So I will. Like, I'm sure, do you guys remember that song, Put Your Hand in the Hand? Put your hand in the hand of the man who steals the water. That was one. And oh my gosh, Debbie's like, I'm so totally singing that in my head now. My sister makes these playlists, these Spotify playlists every year before our trip. And it's all songs that we sang from our childhood. Oh my gosh, you guys. We just have our, and we just sing at the top of our lungs. And when her son came with us last year, he's a drummer, and I'm sure he was, so you know, he has very eclectic taste in music. He kind of likes everything. But his aunt and his mom singing at the top of their lungs, I'm sure he was like, oh, brother. So for those of you who, I know, Gretchen, and it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So if those of you who are new, I'm going to show you the Jiggy Joggy blend in just a second. I gotta get rid of all this paint on my brush because we can't waste color. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. So where's one? Here, this one right here is dry, right? But we want to soften the edge. So I'm gonna rinse my brush in water, then I'm gonna tap it off on my paper towel right here. So see if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm rinsing, and now I'm going to tap off the water, then I'm going to tap it off on my paper towel, so now I just have a damp brush, right? And now we're just going to soften that edge. We're going to come in here where the dark meets the light, and we're just going to jiggy jog, jiggy jog, jiggy jog. And do you see how that just softens that edge? Like this edge here is quite harsh, right? But we're going to come in and we're going to just do jiggy jog, jiggy jog, jiggy jog, right? And that just softens that edge. And sometimes I like to pull that color down the sides, right? Or if I have excess pigment on my brush, I'm just going to wipe that off on my paper towel, so that we're not moving that to another place. Okay, so here's another one. Jiggy jog, jiggy jog, jiggy jog. You get a really nice gradation of color that way. Wipe it off on your paper towel, and then just keep moving to the next place. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Wet your brush, tap it off, and then come in. Jiggy jog, jiggy jog. And this is going to really soften the edge and give you a really nice, oh, that's way too much water. Really nice gradation of color. Okay. Jiggy jog, jiggy jog. So this one, if you're going to paint it all in one fell swoop, it's going to take you a little time, but then you're going to have artwork for 4 cards ready, right? There we go. Just gonna want to soften those edges. But I like to leave little bits of white every now and again. I just feel like it really adds some kind of painterly vibe. And I also really like coming in with my white pens, right? So I have my Posca pen and my number 10 Jelly Roll. Those are my favorites. I like to, which one's dry? This one's dry. I just like to add just I'm just adding some line work, just bits and pieces of highlights, right? You could add some dots. That's going to add some nice dimension. Right? You could do the same on some of the leaves that have like dark spots. I like to just kind of follow the... Hey, Linda McGee. Oh, Beth, that's so cool. That doesn't surprise me that you're the correspondence secretary. And you'll notice I'm just adding little bits of detail, right? Nothing too much. That's adding like another level of dimension and just reinforces the form of everything, right? I think I have a little bit more shading to do, to add a little bit more darker bits down here. Yeah, I have some correspondence. Well, I need to send some thank yous out today. That's for sure. I just keep letting this dry in between. It's kind of like exactly what I needed this morning. You know what I mean? Something slow and mellow. So pretty. So I hope that you'll all start painting away on your Aunt Junie art printable. I can't wait to see what you create with it. We're going to be creating with it again tomorrow on Pop-In Paint Party tomorrow. And I'm going to be printing mine on copy paper. Oh my gosh, thank you, Gretchen. I really appreciate that. Those were so fun to create with, or to draw, that's for sure. Hey Mary, how are you? Almost done with all my dimension building here, and then we'll let it dry and we'll do some more jiggy jaggy blend. Remember that there'll be a stitch along today at 10:30 on Stitch the States with Aunt Corbiere-Scott. I am stitching Wisconsin this morning. I finished South Carolina, and so I am stitching Wisconsin. So I went to a quilt shop when I was back home, and there was, I was asking the woman who owns it, she's friends with my mom, and so I was asking her to help me choose some fabrics, or to at least put it in her thinker, and that I'd talk to her about it when I came back next week, to go, like, to coordinate with all of those, different, the state flower pieces. I don't know. You know, I'm not a fancy quilter by all means. I am very rudimentary. And her ideas seemed like she thought I was my mother, and I'm not. My mother can do fancy things with her sewing machine. I can do squares. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up becoming of all of that. So I'm adding some dimension to all these little bubbles. That's kind of cool. There we go. So pretty. And I'll do some white pen work on this too. But I'm also really starting to think, Tam, remember when we did, I can't remember which printable we were working on, but we did, we kind of built some, we did some dots of color, you remember? I'm kind of feeling like I want to add some of that to, like, even beef up the dimension a little bit more. That's what I'm kind of feeling like. We'll see. I think it's going to continue to be a work in progress, and that's okay, right? So remember, like I said, that tomorrow you're going to need to bring your Aunt Junie printed on copy paper. Oh, this one, I missed this whole one. I didn't do that. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I can feel it coming on. I don't know, I just want it to have a real painterly vibe. And I like to adding those little details that will take it up a notch, you know? I always feel like that. Those little finishing details will just take your artwork to the next level. Until you'll be so proud of it, you know? Get some more water in here. Oh, I can just hardly wait to create with this. So I'll try and do that. Create some cards with this to share with you tomorrow before we art journal. Hi, Wakita. How are you? So once I'm done with all of my detail work, I'm going to cut this in 4, and then I'll try to do 4 kind of different cards with this same artwork. And I'd love it if you did that too, and then posted photos. I would love to see. I'm using a really small brush this morning because I knew I needed to. Get concentrated paint in small areas. Okay, did I get all my nooks? Nope. Okay. Well, we are out of time. How did that happen? I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. I missed you all. I missed our interaction. Remember that the Christmas card challenge starts today. So there's a album on the Let's Get Artsy with Aunt Corbiere-Scott Facebook group. So post your photos in there, and then get people to like your photo, your cards, because remember, the ones with the most likes will get a gift certificate from me, but I will send happy mail to every person who enters. So Beth, I like watercolor brushes are a funny thing. You know, different people have different likes. I like a watercolor brush that has a nice snap. Do you see how that has a nice snap? It bounces back quick. That's my preference. I do not really like ones that are super, super long, but this one does have a good snap. So my advice to you is, and I don't spend a lot of money on my brushes. I prefer synthetic brushes, and I don't pay more than $5, maybe $6 tops per brush. I would get a 2, a 4, a 6, and an 8. Those are my faves. and I use a 4 for almost everything. But if you get a 2, a 4, a 6, and an 8, then you've got a good range for different things. You might get a big, like a 10 for watercolor washes, like if you're going to do a big swath of color. But I would like go to Michael's or go to your local art store, for you Arizona Art Supply, and just look at their wide range of brushes there, and touch them and feel them, and buy 2. Do you know what I mean? Buy a 2 and a 4, or a 4 and a 6, and then take those home and play with them and see if you really like them. So then your investment isn't huge. Do you know what I mean? But I will just say that my watercolor brushes merge with my all kinds of artsy things brushes. I'm not a fine watercolorist. I just know what I know. So my brushes are range. They range. I have some fine watercolor brushes, but I use them the same as I use. You're going to find your favorites. I like mine a little bit stiffer, like this little one, and this was a craft brush. But do you see how stiff it is? I like bristles that are tight and have a good spring back, you know? They have a good snap. So that's my best advice about brushes. I like Connoisseur. I like silver black velvet. But this is a very soft brush. But for I like these for watercolor washes. And I have big ones. I think I have an 8 and I think I have an 8 and a 10 in these, maybe. I do like Simply Simmons. These are made in the Dominican Republic, and they have a really good snap. They're pretty inexpensive. I think I paid like $4 a piece for these. I got this set at Arizona Art Supply, Moderna, and it's by Royal Langnickel, and they are lovely. So if you're looking for some flats, I think they might have rounds too. But the day I was shopping for these, I needed some flats, and so I got, and these were like 3 something, so maybe $4 a piece. So just know you don't need to spend lots of money to get a good brush. That's my advice. I am ever so grateful for you taking time out of your busy days to hang with me and get creative with me. I missed you so tremendously. Thank you so much. Print off your Aunt Junie and let's get making stuff. We could make a Christmas card out of this, right? Arizona Art Supply is, oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And they're so kind and generous there. Like I said, if you're brand new here, if you would follow, like, and subscribe to Aunt Corbiere-Scott Designs on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, I would greatly appreciate that. And then please ask to join our private Facebook group, Let's Get Artsy with Aunt Corbiere-Scott. That's where you're going to post your pictures of your Christmas cards in the album. Christmas in July Christmas cards, or something to that effect. I adore you all. Thank you so much. And I will see you again tomorrow. If you want to stitch with me, I'll see you at 10:30. Talk to you soon. Bye.